And welcome to Ask Your Academic. Today's session will cover the MSc Sports and Exercise Science in Medicine, and we're joined by our programme lead. We might also have another panel member joining us shortly, but they're here to answer any questions you might have about the programme. A number of questions have been submitted before today's session, so we'll do our best to get through all of those. If during the session you have any further questions, you can use the chat box to pop them in there, and you can also use that to say hello and let us know where you're watching from. I'll pop some useful links into that chat box too, so if you've got anything, any questions specific to sort of funding or your application, there'll be some useful links in there to follow up on those. If after the session you have any further questions, you can email the programme administration team, and that email address can be found on the programme webpage on our website near the top in the blue box. So we do only have a short session, so Gemma, would you like to introduce yourself and give a quick overview of the programme?
Yeah, thank you. My name's Dr. Gemma Wright, and I'm one of the teaching staff that work on the MSc in Sport and Exercise Science and Medicine. So I've actually got a programme overview which I can share with you and to go through that first of all, if that was okay, Naomi. Yeah. So just give me a second to share my screen. Hopefully in a bit you'll be able to see. Can you see it not in the presenter view? Is that okay? No, you can't see it. Let me just see. 2 seconds. Let's. How about that? Can you see the course overview? What can you see?
I can just see you.
Oh, you can see me still. Oh no, that's a shame. You don't want to do that. Just give me 2 seconds to see if I can share this. I just think it'd be a lot easier to talk to you about the program when we've got that up and running. Just give me a second. You should be able to see this now, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay, lovely. Okay, so you should be able to see in front of you the program, what my kind of idea of the program kind of map, which I'm going to talk through. So obviously the point of doing this MSc is to get you really upskilled on the kind of sport and exercise science and medicine side of kind of healthcare and working in preventative medicine and working in kind of therapy and sports injuries. So we have there's 2 semesters, and then we have a summer project as well, which I'll talk to you about. So in the semester 1, which will start when you start in September, first of all, we get you in that first week that you're there, and we give you an induction session where you get to meet the teaching team and ask all the kind of important questions that you might have about the kind of program going ahead. So at that session, you'll meet the program coordinator, who is Jason Gill, Stuart Gray, Professor Stuart Gray, and myself and the rest of the teaching team. That's that session as well. We'll also talk to you about the options and how the course is going to look for you as it goes ahead. So as you can see in semester 1, the ones at the top in the big boxes are the compulsory ones. So the first compulsory one you'll do, which is worth 20 credits, is research methods and statistics, which gives you a really nice background and kind of base in what kind of statistics and research methods you're going to need to be able to conduct really good research projects in this area. Then you get to choose. You've got 4 options in that semester, and you get to choose 2 from these, so you do 60 credits. So we have sport and exercise medicine in practice, physical activity, health and epidemiology, mechanisms and interventions, ergonomic aids for exercise performance, and exercise in clinical populations. So you can see that depending on whether you want to go down a more sports route or more kind of physical activity kind of route, you've got options there, so you can tailor the program to your needs. In the second semester there, we have a compulsory lab project, which is worth 20 credits, and that gets you guys into the lab and actually working with us doing VO2 max testing, but applying those kind of exercise tests in a more research way. So if you've ever done anything like this at undergrad, that you probably learned about the tests themselves, but in this situation we get you to apply it. And then you have your 4 options again you choose 2. You've got physical activity, health and behaviour change, which it really builds on the physical activity course that you could do in semester 1. Sports injuries, there's 2 sports injuries modules there. There's one which is for doctors and physios. So if you've got that kind of background, that you go down a more medical route for the injuries. And then there's sports injuries for more prevention and rehab. And then there's also the world-class athlete, which is again about dealing with sports individuals, looks at genetic factors, and those kind of things that would kind of influence how somebody becomes a world-class athlete. And then over the summer, and right now I'm literally in the throes of this with my current cohort, we do our major project. So we've got lots of practical and applied projects in there. You can do so that some of our students that currently are placed at Partick Thistle doing an internship there. I have student placed at the Queen Elizabeth at the hospital, going to doing exercise work with cancer patients. So we have such a diverse range of projects you can do. Carlos Celis is one of our teaching staff as well, and he does a lot of things to do with biobank data and data analytics. So that's more not working with people, but working with big data sets. So the spectrum of what you can do within those major projects is actually really exciting and can hopefully shape what you choose to go on and do in the future. So I realised I kind of spoke a little bit too much there, but hopefully that's answered a few questions as we go along.
Thank you. And I can see that Lynsay's joined us. Lynsay, do you want to just do a quick introduction to yourself and let anybody watching know how you're involved with the programme?
Hi there, apologies for my late attendance, issues with Zoom, working from home, the joys. Yeah, so I'm Lynsay, I'm the programme administrator. So I'm your main point of contact out with academics. So I'll help with all the enrolment issues and hopefully not that many issues, but I'll help with all the enrolment and all your registration and things like that. So yeah, right through to graduation. So yeah.
Thank you. And something that we're always asked a lot about is the project, and you touched a little bit on it there, Gemma. How do students choose a topic or a supervisor? Can you tell us a wee bit more about that?
Yeah, so I've added a lot of structure into this over the past couple of years. So I coordinate that course myself. What we do is, so like I said, in that first week that you're here, we introduce you to all the staff, and we start talking about projects right from day one, because I think it's really important that that really shapes where you kind of go in your future career, and it's really the thing you can talk about at job interviews and things is what you practically went to do. So what we do is I'm already working now at coordinating next year's projects. So I've already making contacts with local leisure providers and clinics and things to try and get some really practical projects in there. We have some secondary data analysis. We all have questions or things we want to answer ourselves. So I compile those into an Excel spreadsheet, and very early on, probably back in about October, November time, you get that list of projects and supervisors. There'll be a session where we can talk about the projects more, and you get to meet all the supervisors, because that's broader than our kind of core team, and ask them any questions that you might have. We talk about what the projects would look like. We talk about ethics, if you need ethics. We talk about projects where you might not need ethics. So you basically get taken through that, and then before Christmas, so before you finish that first semester, that is when you actually have already chosen your project and a supervisor. So from very early on, you can start reading literature around that area, starting kind of doing development work. And like I said, the range is broad. So if you're coming from a injuries kind of background, kind of sports therapy, then you can tailor it towards the supervisor who has those skills, and projects that are maybe more practically based. If you want to go more into doing a PhD and you've got a specific topic in mind, then you can try and kind of choose a project and you can tailor it around that. So we ask you to rank your projects. So I say, these are the projects, can you rank them 1 to 5? And then we try and allocate the first project that you put down as we can. And then the projects actually don't start until May. So literally this year they started on the 2nd of May. But lots of my students who were doing ethics worked with me before on that. We've done there's some courses you can do on like systematic reviews, some training you can do before you even get to your project kind of stage. So you're really ready to go and get some very good hands-on practical research experience when it comes to your summer project.
Perfect. And Gemma already mentioned a wee bit, Lynsay, but I don't know if you could give a wee bit more information about sort of when students would choose their optional courses? Is that, do they need to choose them all at the start, or do they get a bit of time as they go through?
Well, enrolment opens in August, so you can register basically for all your courses from August. But as Gemma touched, we do have a programme induction where we give more information on each course. So I don't know if students would like to wait until we have the programme induction to fully register on all their courses. But you will obviously have to enrol on the core courses, Med 5538, which is evidence-based biomedical research, and the mini lab project for semester 2. But out with that, we can discuss further at the programme induction, and then students can roll after that.
Thank you. And I will say that on all our web pages, all the courses are linked, so you'll find a wee bit more information about different assessments and things like that on there before your induction. So there's a few questions here about sort of physical therapists. I think they're probably kind of similar. So it's I would like to know the relevance of this speciality to rehabilitation, because I may work as a physical therapist in the future. And then the other one is, as a physiotherapist candidate, what will this master's contribute to me?
Okay, so yeah, the way I kind of see that is that there's two slightly different streams there. So we'll talk about the kind of the physical therapist first. So as you kind of saw in that program, Matt, we have two very specific injuries modules, and I think that is one of the kind of highlights for us, for people who are coming on with this kind of background already in this area. So say if you've been working either in physical therapy or in physio, that it's more of an applied sports setting that you're going to get kind of experience in. So you're going to learn a lot more about more sports specific kind of relevant injuries, because just because you're a physio doesn't mean you're a sports physio. So this will just give you that a bit more background into the kind of the dealing with kind of sports and physical activity and exercise, those kind of injuries and things that we typically are seeing. So the way, because we split it into, we've got the doctors and physios and people who don't have a background in the kind of medical background, that we can kind of tailor it a little bit more to those specific streams. So for example, if you are a physio or a doctor, you will take part in an UofG, so you actually have sort of, you know, accredited qualification kind of at the end of this, and that's based at our sports clinic out in Hampden. So they lead, they're very much experts in this area, and they lead on that side of things for us. So I would say those are probably the two specific ones for that kind of group. The exercise and clinical populations, I think, is also a key course that we run. So that will allow you to look a lot more about how we deal with all the kind of health conditions that come into any of our clinics at the moment. You know, people with contraindications to exercise, so dealing with hypertension and diabetes. Like what should we do? We know physical activity, sport and exercise is good for these groups, but how do we make sure we're giving them the right type of prescription, the right type of advice, and how do we deal with them? So there's a lot of kind of tailoring within the course, which will allow you just a bit of that bit more confidence to be able to go out and work within sports and exercise in a variety of either sporting or public health kind of settings.
Thank you. And then there was another question that was, as part of the master's programme, will there be teaching and guidance on statistics and research when it comes to academic writing?
Specifically for writing, well, the first course that you do, one of the compulsory ones, is the research methods and statistics. So you get that from the start, and that's you know, it teaches you all about kind of research designs and how to apply appropriate statistical analysis to the kind of data you're looking at. So that one's really core, really key for me, actually, because it just gives you that nice grounding throughout the rest of your courses, where we're asking you to kind of think that next level above kind of undergraduate kind of work. We're asking you to be more critical, and so you really need to know the statistics. You need to know how research is formed, and that's what we kind of teach you through that. I would say and then most of the kind of assessments and things as well are all about being critical and of existing literature, and the assessments that you do allow you to write and present kind of academic work as well. So within the major projects, for example, one of the outputs that you can choose to write on is actually to write a journal article. So if you do a research project that you want to present for submission in a journal, we actually give you the opportunity to work with your supervisor to submit an article. It's typically after you've finished your master's, but when you submit your project, it is in the format of a journal article. So you will get that experience of how you write for an academic kind of audience, and you know that the whole academic process of submitting a journal article. So your supervisors on the major projects will help kind of take you through that. I should also say, actually, though, if that is not where you want to go, that we have other options in the projects anyway, and different kind of assessment formats which allow you to test a variety of skills. So we do things like asking you to translate research evidence into a general population, like a lay population, and say, how do you translate this academic information to somebody who doesn't know anything about it? So you know, there's some one of the assessments is to get you to do like an infographic kind of based thing. So, you know, how do you actually communicate research messages, which I think is a really key future direction. And again, in the major projects, one of the outputs you can create is, in addition to the academic side, is to create like a research report. So something that you'd maybe see, which has like an executive summary, something that you'd see maybe produced by Sport Scotland or Public Health England or something like that. So one, you know, and instead of it being very academically focused with all the statistics and things, it's more about presenting research data in a more accessible way for a different audience. So I do feel that regardless of what stream you want to go down, you can tailor this course, and you've got people like me who are public health practitioner really, but then, you know, Jason and Stuart are very much kind of like within the physiology and the kind of lab-based stuff. So we've got a really nice range of skills on this course that will allow you to hopefully tailor this towards your future research direction.
Perfect, thank you. And then we're always asked, what does this, I know there's not a typical week, but what would a typical week, I think it's more how much time is spent in class versus what's expected of a student out with class?
Well, the programme's obviously tailored to each student, so a typical week is different from the next student, basically. So yeah, it's all personalised to the student and the courses that they undertake, basically. So yeah, we run basically sports, exercise, science and medicine practice, and on Monday, the students have got a core course on a Tuesday, so all students attend on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday, we've got Ergade's course. Thursday, we've got EBRM, which is a core course, so students are definitely in a Tuesday and a Thursday. And then on a Friday, we've got the physical activity course. So it really depends what option courses that the student will undertake in semester 1. And then again, semester 2 is different, again, depending on your options, but the core course would be on a Wednesday. But once the students enrol on their particular courses, they'll have access to the course timetables, and they'll know exactly when they should be attending classes, and it will give them, yeah, so like I said, every course runs certain days, so yeah, every student's diary will be different, yeah. So, and
there is an expectation from us as well that there's stuff that you do outside of those sessions as well. So we have Moodle is our platform that we use for kind of online material, and that's our main kind of communication method with the students. And what I've done over the past year is actually try, because obviously we're in this strange world now where we've come out of COVID and everything was online, and there was actually some benefits of having this stuff online. So as Lynsay was talking about the kind of in-person sessions, a lot of the material is actually already online for you. There's recorded material online, and the way I run my courses is that I would want you to watch a lecture or watch a session or listen to a podcast when you're out for a walk or something before you even come and see me. I want you to read these kind of papers, and it's all outlined on Moodle, like a bit like more like a workbook. So you can see your details, you know, that what you need to do before you come and see me, because it's not just the kind of hours contact you have, you're expected to do a certain amount of time outside of that as well. So by the time you come to maybe the live session with me, where you maybe only have 2 sessions with the 2 hours with that kind of staff member, it's more of a, right guys, what did you learn? I asked you to do this beforehand, and you know, let's develop and build on those skills, because if you just come to a session for 2 hours and I talk to you, it's not the most exciting kind of approach. So we try and make things a lot more interactive, a lot more kind of hands-on, allowing you to ask questions and really develop your skills. Like, the questioning is the key part of doing this kind of program. You can do reading now, you don't need us for that, but we want to give you us and the value add that this course can bring. So yeah, I think with the practical, the in-person stuff and the online, you've got a really nice tailored course that you can work around, hopefully, your busy schedules.
Thank you. And there's a question there coming through the chat box, and it's, do you have any more information about the internships offered in place of the summer project? It's actually in a few bits, and then what time course would they follow? What profession sports options are available?
Okay, so for the internships, you can actually do internships throughout the year, whilst it's not necessarily linked into a specific aspect of this. We encourage our students to go and set up their own kind of connections or use our connections. So we're very closely linked to the undergraduate course as well, and we'll quite often post opportunities for people who are looking for kind of practical experience. Whilst that might not contribute towards a credit on this, it will help your CV massively. So we really do encourage people to kind of seek out their own opportunities as well. But just as an example, some of our supervisors, I think we've got people based in rugby clubs as well, like and Partick is one of our key partners at the moment. But what for the internships, we would typically offer, you normally have to go through a bit more of a stringent process. We get you to do a CV, which the clubs and things can look at for those internships. So they are a bit more competitive. Having a background in sport and exercise is probably beneficial for the internships. So getting experience in that kind of area before you come on is really helpful. So yeah, and the projects that you do within, like the guys who are in Partick at the moment, I think they're doing a variety of stuff. Some are doing things with their existing data, so using their existing GPS data, and some of them are doing things in the gym and applying different techniques to their exercise programs and kind of working with the teams there. So that's quite varied. But yeah, and the summer project, like I said, it runs from May, and you typically finish at the end of July, and submission for your project is this year I think it's 22nd of August with you, and we do like a presentation of either the week before that as well. So that's the kind of time scale you're looking at there. What time course would they follow? What professional sports options are available? So as I said, we will provide you as much opportunities as we can. You've got links to the Hampden Sports Clinic, which is a really key one, to kind of get connections there and to speak to the people there as well, to try and look at other opportunities for you. Like as I said, we are expanding our options of sports clubs and things are involved with us all the time. So we're really trying to give you as much opportunity as we can to get you into kind of practical settings and things. So but it is very competitive. We're not the only masters program there. We're probably one of the best with regards to contacts and links, because we've got people actually working in these places. So I would say that the options are very good, but they are really competitive. So you still bear that in mind.
Thank you. And something we're always asked is there any preparations that students can make before they start in September?
Yeah, I guess so. Make sure if you haven't had a place offer, make sure you've obviously hit kind of entry requirements and things like that first. And I would say, if you have got time over the summer to do some volunteering work, or to try and link in with clubs, then and the areas that you want to go down to, then people are really always looking for opportunities to take on kind of volunteer help and things like that. So if you want to go down, I don't know, working with children in sports and PE, go and volunteer to help out some local clubs in your area and things. Look at, are there kind of coaching qualifications or anything that you're interested in doing, kind of investigate that sort of thing. These are value adds, because what I'm now already thinking about is where you're going to be after the masters. We want to make you as employable as possible. So I think that is what you need to work on maybe over the summer, is looking at your employability after the masters. So the masters, I've told you what the kind of things that's going to give you, but you need to look at how to make yourself the most well-rounded candidate for future jobs, ideally. And then, you know, if you're interested in specific research topics or anything like that you want to pursue, then obviously doing reading and things over the summer and things that you're interested in is always going to be of advantage to you.
Thank you. I think we've got time for one quick question, and you've kind of touched on it there, but what kind of jobs do graduates go on to do?
Yeah, as you can see from what I've said, is that how you tailor this program is up to you. So I kind of seeing this program as having three main streams. So there is the kind of the rehab kind of injuries kind of side of things. There's obviously a public health, physical activity health kind of aspect you can go down, and then there's working with elite sports people and the kind of sports science side. So there's different streams that you go down, and how you tailor that will depend where you maybe want to go at the end. But so at the moment we have lots of students who go in to do further academic work. Lots of people want to do this master's to do a PhD, so we get quite a lot of that. A lot of our students apply their skills if they've already got a background in sports med or in medicine or physio, then they go in down a more applied kind of sports route. We have lots of people who actually go into being sport and exercise physiologists for sports clubs. So, you know, we really do provide you with this really nice background to get you very employable in a very competitive market. So yeah, some people go into strength and conditioning work, working in coaching. So it really is really quite diverse. And I would say where you go with this is up to you, how you tailor this for your needs.
Perfect, thank you. Well, that's us now at the end of the session. It was very quick. And I think you've covered a lot of information there. So thank you both for taking time out of your busy day. We hope everybody watching us find that interesting. Like I said, if you do have any further questions, you can send them to the Programme Administration email box, and you'll find that email address on the webpage on our website. So yeah, thanks again, and we hope to see you all in September. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.